We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc and theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up. Hey everybody, it's Craig.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew.
Welcome to episode number 44 of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast, the podcast where we talk about stuff, you guys listen, love it, and then we move on with our weeks and stuff. I don't know. We're going to come up with a better tagline than that, because that was awful. Remind me not to go. Remind me not to go into marketing ever.
Hey, listen to us. Thank you.
That's two. On this week's episode of the Forgot to Grow Up podcast, we're not going to talk Family Guy, although we may just in. We're going to talk about Batman. I know you guys have been waiting for this oddly specific episode. It's bound to happen. Here it is.
Surprisingly, it took us this long.
44 episodes to run out of ideas, guys. Go us.
Go us.
Then we're going to talk about what we watched this week, and then we're all going to go to bed, because we are just coming off of a long weekend here in Canada, and damn.
Apparently none of us slept.
Nope, not even much drinking, just no sleeping. And it was hot, and it's still hot.
So hot.
And some of
And
us
it is
don't have air
always
conditioning.
hot.
Some of us are not recording from our air-conditioned basements because of the... Andrew.
Hey, why you gotta call me out on that, okay?
Because you're the one.
That's fair.
But before we launch this Batman discussion, I just gotta talk about our lovely Forgot to Grow Up t-shirts, because I wore mine on Monday, out and about in the lovely world, and I got so many compliments on that thing.
You know how many people have come up to me and been like, "Ooh, what's that?" And they ask me about it, and then I have to explain to them like what it is, and then they get excited about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I had so many people who were like, "Yeah, I like your shirt." I like your shirt too, Tim Hortons lady. I like your shirt. Yes, I like your shirt too, Navy officer. Like, it was a weird weekend.
A Navy officer?
Yeah, I toured an old Canadian Navy boat, and as we were getting off, the guy's like, "Hey, I like your shirt." I was like, "Thanks, man." He's like, "Yeah, I forgot to grow up too." Describes me to a T. I was like, "It's a podcast, you should listen to it." And that's about as far as that conversation went.
And then he never downloaded it.
That's fine. As long as we're getting the word out.
How many people do you, like... I would like to just sit down with these people who think they know what it is, and just to find out what they actually think it is.
Well, he didn't even know it was, like, he didn't even... Nobody has clued in that it's me and you guys on the shirt. Like, granted, I was wearing sunglasses, so I'll give them a slight pass.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't exactly look like me. Especially
I feel like if Scott ever wore it out in public, and
it would be
someone
a dead
didn't notice,
friggin' ringer.
So dead on for me, yeah.
Exactly.
Like it's bang on.
Exactly. Yeah, so they don't necessarily get that, but he didn't even realize it was a custom shirt. I was like, "Yep, it's my shirt." There's only so many of them.
There's only 22 in existence, people.
You could have one if you wanted to spend money on it. But
if he forgot to grow up, he doesn't have money to buy it.
That's fair. He does work for the Canadian government, though.
That's true.
So, you know.
But you know who does have money to buy stuff?
Some of our listeners.
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
that too.
I was gonna go with that.
I was gonna go load into something else, but that works too. Sure. That can be our segue.
There we go.
I was gonna talk about this awesome poster I saw today, but whatever.
Okay. Well, I want to know about this awesome poster now.
Now we're curious about the poster.
I
now
saw
I want to know.
Batman on it.
I saw a post on Reddit of someone with who puts googly eyes on their posters, and so they put googly eyes on the Batman Forever poster, and it's hilarious. And I'm going to find that post while we do this podcast, and we may or may not put it up on our Twitter feed. Look at that.
Good.
Or maybe Instagram, who knows? Feeding the good old social media machine.
I'm intrigued now because I saw one the other day on Instagram, and it's not Batman related, it's Venom related. and it's Venom where they gave him eyes inside of the white.
Yeah, I saw that
and
one too.
it's so creepy with his tongue. I was like,
yeah, I saw that one too.
Super creepy.
That one was terrifying.
Like, Venom was creepy enough as it is. I didn't need to see him with bright blue, beautiful eyeballs.
Like mine.
Okay. Don't be full of yourself, okay? First you shit on my basement with the air conditioning, and now you're saying you're beautiful, okay?
Have you
Get
thought
over
that
yourself.
Maybe I'm just a little bit jealous and insecure, Andrew?
Just get over yourself, okay?
Things are getting real at the Forgot to Grow Up podcast. Let's talk Batman, which is totally real. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Real as it gets.
Gotham City's a real place. We all live there.
Obviously.
Gotham City's in here.
In our hearts.
Should I just take it away with some of the questions I have written down, Batman related, guys?
Absolutely. Hit me with them.
I think the first one's pretty obvious, but who's our favorite movie Batman?
Ooh.
We've had quite a few. Well, not quite a few. We've had at least, 4?
Do I have to pick one?
Well, I just want to talk about it in general. Who's the best?
Can I have different reasons for
Of course.
certain
I'm
ones?
very nuanced with that. Never pick one thing when I say best anything. So.
Okay. Well, I hate to say it, and I've said it before, Christian Bale is not my favorite. It's everyone else's favorite. It's not mine.
I'd have to agree with that. The only thing I'd give Christian Bale is his look. He looks a little like when he's Bruce
he's
Wayne,
a good Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he's a pretty good Bruce Wayne.
I mean, I'd like his style to be a little like.
But he's good.
If I had to pick one, I'd have to say Ben Affleck, just because he fits the mold for me, and he looks so goddamn good dressed up as Bruce Wayne. But then once he's in the bat suit, I'm like, oh yes.
Yeah, he's just badass and he kicks ass.
Yes.
Yeah, no,
and Dre Diddle face all over that. But I even like the George Clooney one. Like, I liked his version. Like,
George Clooney one was one of my favorite ones too, especially when I was growing up, because it was just.
I think that's the beauty of like the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's like, I don't understand how he got cast as the director for these movies. It seems like such a terrible decision in retrospect. However, looking at it now, it kind of gives you like, you get to see Gotham City, and I almost feel like each different Bruce Wayne character is a different movie altogether. Like, it's like a multiverse.
Definitely. I think I've always kind of thought of it that way myself too, since we grew up with them changing the actor,
Yeah, James Bond style.
Exactly, right? So that's kind of the way I saw it too growing up, and that's kind of, I like them all for different kind of reasons, right? Like, I like George Clooney Batman because I like him as Bruce Wayne. I feel like he just has that perfect amount of just like kind of rich guy charm to him. Or just like, it's that.
Well, it's because
this
is Danny Ocean.
Exactly. It fits so perfectly, and maybe it's just because that was one of the first ones I grew up with, and I love that one especially because it's Batman and Robin. So and Arnold making the best ice and snow puns ever.
With Thurman, one of the first
I put that she's it. You even got who's the doctor dude at the beginning? That's the guy who played Lionel Luthor.
He played Lionel Luthor.
That's what it was. Yeah. Which isn't a big connection, but it's a connection for me. I love Smallville.
Like, I don't know. Like, I just like to look at them as they're all different versions. Like that version, George Clooney's Batman is super snarky. Like, he's very sarcastic, but he's also like intense. And you get the Val Kilmer one, who's just kind of very subdued, and he's like, I just do stuff. I'm the intelligent, like, super brilliant
he's the
Batman. And then Michael Keaton's like, I'm the dark, sadistic, like, I just get shit done. Yeah, I get shit done, Batman.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think they all have their different elements of what makes each of them uniquely great. I agree. So yeah, no, I think we can't really land anywhere. Where do you land on this, Craig? Who's your favorite Batman?
Lego Batman.
Okay.
Nice.
Will Arnett.
He said live action, though. He did say live action before, but I'll allow it.
Will Arnett is my favorite Batman, then.
I'll allow it for this one, yeah.
No, I would. If I had to pick a live action Batman, I'd have to pick the only one I can remember. You guess who that might be?
I'm guessing that's Christian Bale.
It's Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Did you ever see those ones then? I
never
remember.
Never really got around to it, no.
never got around to it. They've been up
That's
like
the
10
funny
years.
thing. I feel like Craig out of the three of us would like those ones the most. I don't know why.
Probably because they're I don't say they're more believable, but they're more believable, right?
They're grounded. Like they're a little bit more like
that,
this
that was their thing.
real world. Yeah.
That was the thing that kind of turned me off of it. Like that's why I like comics. Is just they're so bullshit. They're so over the top and unbelievable.
No, I'm on your side with that because it's like they're a little too they were too grounded. I was like, no, I like Batman because his villain is a fucking clown who fell in acid. Like, come on, he makes. Where was my freaking Joker Venom in Dark Knight?
Yeah,
like, come on.
No,
I just want Joker Venom or a freaking flower that shoots acid. Did you have a shoe that shoots acid? I can't remember now.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Okay.
He didn't. But I'll accept Will Arnett. I will accept Will Arnett because Lego Batman is amazing.
Yeah, Lego Batman's great. I've loved him in all his appearances, even outside of just the Lego Batman movie, because he was great in the Lego movie too. And which one else? He's supposed to be in the upcoming Lego movie 2 as well. Yep. Yeah, so that's a little fun cameos. I like his comic relief to it, and that they don't take that Batman this seriously. Like they let Lego Batman joke about the fact that Batman can be a little ridiculous.
Well, I like that it's super dark and brooding and intense, but like the jokes are just so well placed. Like they're funny, but like he says it with like that dead serious face. I mean, the Lego, the drawing is dead serious. I imagine Will Arnett's like biting his finger, trying not to laugh the whole goddamn time.
Probably.
You complete me. Ah!
That is one of the funniest parts of that movie.
So good. The whole movie is just phenomenal.
But yeah, I feel like we talked about that. So my next one was, who's our favorite Batman villain in the movies and then in the comics? Just throw it up either way. I'll even let you maybe pick out of some animated, but we don't go too far into the animated because I'll keep a little bit more for the general audiences, not the hardcore Batman fans.
Okay. Well, I'll start with my favorite animated villain, and it's not just one villain. It's the Light from the Young Justice series.
Okay, I gotcha. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like all of them, especially in the second season where you get to see a lot more of the Batman aspect involved in it. Like you get to see more Justice League team ups than you do in the first season.
Yeah.
It was the first season. Like you got to see the odd one here and there.
Yeah, a couple, but not that much.
And the odd a little bit, but by the second season you get to see them all come together and you get to see the Justice League with the Young Justice team, and Batman was always kind of like that main focal point all throughout.
Yeah, no, he's kind of the connector. What kind of connects them to the Young Justice?
Yeah, he's
that makes sense. I like that. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, it's a good one.
Like if it wasn't just animated, I'm gonna move over to live action. This one's tough. There's been a lot of good and there's been a lot of bad.
Yeah. Well, see, my next one is which one's the worst movie villain.
Oh man, the best. See, I think the problem is we haven't seen a just Batman movie in a while.
It's true. It's very true. It's been
even Tommy Lee Jones' Harvey Two-Face was a lot more Joker-like.
Yeah.
To me, anyways.
No, I agree with that.
Than the Dark Knight Joker.
Yeah.
And he's not even the Joker. He's just Harvey Two-Face. But I did like the Two-Face in the Dark Knight. I liked him. Aaron Eckhart.
He was a really good.
Harvey?
I felt he did a really good job, even though he was more grounded. But that character's always kind of been slightly grounded. Not want to say very grounded, but he's it's always a little bit more law based. So that's kind of a little bit easier.
I liked it because it's he really plays up that half of him is still good, half of him isn't.
Yeah.
Some shit happens, that's why he's gone to the dark side. But he's also with I understand that he's not just straight anarchy.
Tommy Lee Jones was just crazy. He didn't really have that split. He was just more he was Joker crazy. I agree with that. Yeah. Mine was for the animated. I really like the Talon in the Court of Owls.
Court of Owls, yeah.
Court of Owls. I really like them. I discovered they're a very recent addition to the Batman thing too, which I didn't know because they've been around pretty much at least half our lives.
Yeah.
Which is most of my Batman knowledge would be from that second.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting that they fit so well in, and I like the fact that they were able to like make this organization, which could have been part of this comics all along. It's just their secret organization, so you never saw them until now.
That's
so this like particular
kinda,
time,
they're secretly pulling the strings of Gotham.
Exactly. So I really like that connection. I can't. What's the animated movie they were in recently? I just didn't watch it
Batman versus Robin.
Is that the one that they were introduced?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Talon tries to get Damian to join him.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah. So I really like that introduction of him in that movie, because I had never really seen Talon before too. I kind of heard of the Court of Owls, but that movie's what my main introduction was to it. So I really like them because they're just so cool and unique, and I think it'd be really cool if they did bring that to live action eventually, if possible.
That'd
I think
be pretty
really
cool.
Yeah, because it'd be a little bit more detective-y too for Batman, because he has to like try and actually solve a mystery. You know what I mean? As opposed to just find the bad guy. It's a little more.
Well, I think it would even be cool if because they've said they're gonna make the Batwoman.
Yeah.
CW show.
True.
So
that'd be a cool connection for that.
I think it would be cool if because there's only so much you can do with Gotham without having Batman. Like I think it would be cool if almost like Birds of Prey, where Batman's gone missing, where it takes place after.
I kind of like that idea. Like he's
after Barbara Gordon gets shot, post Killing Joke.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey, the TV show, kind of takes place after that. Batman's gone on deep undercover and he was gone missing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why they're taking over Gotham.
Yeah, so I think it would be cool to kind of go with that direction.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
With
and she'd be kind of investigating the court and trying to figure out who they are, and they're trying to stop this new Batman person. They're trying to figure out who she is.
Yeah, maybe start with that as the first season.
Yeah,
hint. Hey, listen, Hollywood.
Yeah, hey, listen, CW.
CW, we just came up with your premise for the first season.
I feel like they already got it, to be honest.
That can be your villain. Okay, Talon can be your villain.
What if they already thought of that and we're just kind of behind on that?
Well, too bad. Okay, we're gonna feel original.
We're taking credit. We're taking credit right now.
That's it.
But my favorite live action, one of the movie's favorite live action villain, that one's a bit really tough for me, because none of them really stood out to me. Like none of the Jokers really. Like Jack Nicholson, I like for his over the topness, but even him to me is just a little too not quite right. He's just, I don't know, the darkness to him is not the right. I think it comes out of motivation really in that movie. His motivations aren't as crazy as the Joker usually is. You know what I mean? Or as
yeah.
So I feel like that's why he's not quite. But if I had to pick just one, it would be probably Arnold, Mr. Freeze, because I love that guy. Yeah. It's so corny, it's over the top, it had nothing, almost zero connection really to the comics. He was not the one they were casting from, But I like that he just goes over the top with it. He makes me laugh the most out of it, so probably had to just pick that just out of sheer love of it from my childhood.
That's fair. Stand by it.
Yeah, but who do we think's the worst?
The worst? Live action?
We can go anyone, really. But
oh man,
it's a little easier to pick on when they joke around and the Lego movie they joke around with Condiment King and those other ones. And it's those ones kind of are jokingly sucky. But I mean, which one did the worst job of capturing the character? Do you feel?
Well,
which one's the least your that?
Every single villain. From Batman Forever through Batman and Robin, those versions of the villains, they don't really fit anything.
Arnold doesn't fit whatsoever.
Even I really hit on the head.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true. Just a little too. I'm just trying to seduce everybody's side.
Yeah, a little too sexy and a little less fauna.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Bane, he was just a big dumb goon, as opposed to being the genius military.
It's something I didn't know until later in my life because of that movie.
Because
I always thought he was a dumb muscle guy.
And you find out he's general tactician.
Exactly, and I was
brilliant.
Wait, I could definitely see why people hated him in that movie. And no, I agree. It's definitely not a good portrayal of him at all.
It was both the Banes to me kind of were lacked poster. Like
Yeah.
they got the like super beefed up, and they got the Venom. Or Venom, is that what they call it?
I think it's called
Toxic.
Venom.
Toxic. I think it's Venom. But,
I'm pretty sure too.
yeah. Anyways, so he's got that. They've got that aspect, and the physically appearing side of Bane
Yeah.
in Batman vs. Robin. They nailed it. But then he's dumb. Like he's just a goon. But then you go to Batman, or what was it? Rises, or the Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, the Dark
You go to
Knight.
that, and you look at Tom Hardy's Bane, and he's got the tactician brilliant side to it,
Yeah.
but he's not huge. Like he's
Yeah.
not a Venom, and
He's
they
not, like crazy huge.
no, like he's cut, but he's not like massive.
There are football players who could throw him around, no problem.
Yeah.
Like,
So like it was like if they could somehow just fuse that, I'd be psyched. I'd be so fine.
yeah, no, I agree. That one would have been. Neither of them quite met up to
Yeah.
what it was for the comic book one. Yeah.
And then the Edward Nygma in Batman Forever, like I've always looked at the Riddler as being like one of the smartest characters,
Yeah.
and he's a genius. And then they go with this one where he's just kind of like good at riddles, and he happened to invent one thing.
Yeah, which makes just no sense whatsoever. Really.
Yeah.
Like it's.
We're gonna beam TV into your head and control you.
I feel
okay.
like it was even too comic book for comic books. Does that
Like-
make sense? Like it was too comic book science for comic books, and
Like
they put it.
I
in
just
the
did.
movie.
I didn't like that it looked like a blender.
That's what I
like-
always thought my whole life too. Like I
like-
didn't get that it was a freaking TV antenna for the longest time. 'cause I
No,
was
like it always just looked like the friggin' Ninja blender.
It's like, are you ninja blending their brains? Because as a kid, I made the connection of, oh, I remember being told TV rots your brain.
Yeah.
So I thought he was siphoning people's brains,
Yeah.
which I guess he kind of was.
Kind of, but he was like more melting them, right?
Yeah,
Because like
it just-
when he was like absorbing them into his head, that's when he went crazy and it melted his mind.
Yeah, which I just thought was just a little like, yeah, no, I agree. I was gonna say actually that movie in general has some bad villains, like him and
Like-
Two-Face in that one.
Like the whole scene when they're sticking the thing on each other's heads and they're like,
Yeah.
ha ha, like laughing,
That's
like
just-
it's way too much.
Yeah.
And then you get your Two-Face's little side pieces, and for some reason Drew Barrymore had to be one of them.
Yep.
And I was like, why are you here? Did you just ask to be in that role? Why are you there? Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
Why
no, that
is this
scene
happening?
always, like, as a kid, confused me, because I, just didn't get it. And then as I got older, it just confused me. Different feelings.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, that guy's got it going on. He knows the plan.
He knows what's up. He knows what's up. He's got one from one way, one from the other. Depends on which one the coin. Is that how he picks his lady? He flips the coin.
I imagine so.
Sorry, darling, it's you again.
Sorry.
Damn,
it's heads
one day.
today.
Oh, it landed on its side. That's both of you.
Oh, that's a special occasion.
Come on, girls. It's tails. You know what that means. But yeah, I'd have to
we
say
should
that though.
fix that.
I'd have to say all of those ones are like my least favorite. Like you look at the first two, the
Yeah,
Michael
first two
Keaton
are
ones,
Yeah.
and like the Joker, like is perfect. That's my perfect Joker. Like it's mint. Like it's just crazy enough, but it's also got that gangster side to it.
That's fair.
Like
yeah.
it's perfect for me. And then you move on from that one and you go to Batman Returns, and even like Danny DeVito as the Penguin, like
that's still almost
like
perfect.
he looks a little too greasy and slimy for me. Like I always look
That's
at
fair.
or I always
Yeah.
liked like the animated Batman TV show version of Oswald Cobblepot as being like that kind of like suave, sophisticated like dude who just happened to eat a lot of fish.
Yeah.
Like I didn't like the super clammy, gross, like disgusting, slimy
Yeah, no, that
version.
definitely messed with me as a child. I definitely had a
Ugh.
nightmare about eating a fish once.
Yeah, like it's disgusting. Where it's like, and he just pulls out the.
Yeah, no.
Like he was
that's-
gross, but he also did a really good job at it, like having that kind of like I have my own army, I live in the undergrounds, and
Yeah.
I'm also like I can also manipulate you because that's what he does.
Oh yeah, exactly. No, he did a pretty good job. Besides the fact that it was kind of like an 11 on the fact that we're really pointing out the fact that his name's Penguin,
Yeah,
and apparently in the comics it's not enough, so we had to make him like half penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then you move over to Michelle Pfeiffer's though.
Pfeiffer.
Mel. Wow.
Wow.
Michelle
Mel
Pfeiffer's. Mel Pfeiffer.
Mel
Shapoofy.
Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer thinks she can beat the Batman. Like, I don't know. Like, she never did it for me. I didn't like young Michelle Pfeiffer's. Like, I think I said it before on the Ant-Man and the Wasp episode. Like, older Michelle Pfeiffer's is banging. Younger Michelle Pfeiffer's did not do it for me. She kind of looks scary.
She was definitely one of my first crushes as a child. I can admit that.
I think the shiny leather was too much for me.
That's what caught my eye as a kid, I think.
You like shiny things. Shiny. That's true. That's true.
I'm that
guy. I just didn't like the fact that it was shiny. Like,
no, I get that.
I did really like the Anne Hathaway Catwoman.
That one's
but that's just because I really like Anne Hathaway. So
who doesn't?
Exactly. I stand by my decision.
Nice young lady.
A very nice young lady.
Plus, she was in Princess Diaries, and those are great movies.
Plus, she's brilliant. And she was in Ocean's 8.
Oh, and she played at both sides.
Both sides. She'd be dumb, but she was smart. Okay, off the Dre Diddle face.
Yeah, that got super weird. Can we not?
Just let us love Anne Hathaway, okay?
It's a family podcast. Sort
Craig?
of.
Zero families listen to this. Not one family listens to
not
this.
one family. Craig, what is your least favorite Batman character from the ones that you've seen?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I was going to stay out of this debate just because I feel like I don't have enough source material to work off.
Is it a debate? I thought we were just having.
I don't know if it's a debate necessarily, but I was going to stay out of the discussion because I don't know if I have enough source material to reference.
Well, see, I kind of like that though, because now you're not like, because we're slightly biased because we have a little bit of the comics and the animated series, especially.
And I'm literally covered in Batman tattoos with an appointment to make another one. So
I always feel like, Craig, you're a little bit more like the general audience person who watches a comic book movie occasionally. You don't see everyone in a year, but you'll get to a good number of them. So I like to hear your perspective. I know you don't know that many of them.
Yeah. So not going to talk about the only times I've seen Batman live action recently because that seems unfair since it's not technically Batman. So Superman doesn't really qualify as Batman's greatest enemy.
See, an argument could be made
for himself being his greatest enemy.
Oh, that was deep.
We could go existential like
things
that.
are getting deep. But
deep.
I really liked the Joker.
Bruce Wayne is Batman's
greatest enemy, and vice versa. Because Bruce Wayne should just be a philanthropist who does really good things for his community and cleans it up that way, but instead he's basically shooting himself in the foot by creating this dark personality that breeds fear in the streets of Gotham.
Well, he actually does both.
I know, but if he committed to one or the other, it would have more of an effect on the city than he currently does.
He gives 98% to both of them. Okay, he gives like 98 to one and like 91 to the other.
Yeah, which is not
figure out which.
Not a good number.
Good enough.
Mostly because that math does not add up. But I liked the Joker in the Lego Batman movie.
Okay. Why? I think I know why, but why?
Besides it being Zach Galifianakis.
Need he say more? Yeah, that's it. Did you like the relationship aspect of it?
Yeah, it was.
I hate you.
It was. It reminded me of at Darien Lake back when I was a child, when I was a wee lad. They used to have this Batman live action performance thing that they do every day, a few times a day, and I saw it so many times. And first of all the old movies that I've seen, the Batman movies that I haven't seen in forever, remind me of that. So now when I think back on
campy.
When I think back on old Batman movies, all I can see is a really weirdly produced stage show at an amusement park in Western New York. And that's what those movies remind me of, is like the highly produced camera big screen version of that show.
What was the premise of this Western New York?
Something to do with Joker, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time.
Darian, hit us up. Tell us what it was about.
I can't remember what the story was exactly.
My guess would be a short version of the '89 Batman, so the first of those movies.
It's entirely possible. There were lots of pyrotechnics and sound effects and a motorcycle.
Oh, I can imagine the whole thing right now. I'm sure I saw the exact same thing at one point when I was a kid too.
Yeah, exactly. And lots of yelling into headset microphones, and it was loud and warm and smelled like fireworks. But I remember it. And so the Joker in the Lego Batman kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then also, now I'm not going to remember his name. That's really bothering me. Mark Hamill's Joker. I remember him fairly fondly.
He's the animated one, and he still does it even to this day sometimes.
Exactly.
An occasional movie. Yeah.
So I did watch some Batman cartoons.
Right. I wasn't sure if you were I didn't know if you kept up with the animated series.
No, just the watching of the whatever was on
Netflix.
No, it was on Teletoon in the mornings. I'm talking when I was a kid watching Saturday morning cartoons.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
See, I was religious about that back in the day. So that's
back before I got a real job.
You saying we don't have real jobs?
Well, I got a real job at 14, so up until then, I was watching Saturday morning cartoons. Then I started working at Saturday mornings, so that didn't necessarily happen. So I don't know if I'd have necessarily a worst one, because I don't have much of a frame of reference for one that I wouldn't like exactly. Most of it's nostalgia, and then it's Joker. So
that's fair. So you hate nostalgia. I got it.
I don't hate nostalgia. I don't want to hate things I don't know.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I don't want to say the reason I didn't watch any Batman movies when I was younger is because I probably wouldn't have liked them, because I probably would have been scared of them because I was a weird little kid.
No, a couple of them are a little scary too sometimes. Yeah. Like if you watch Batman Returns at the wrong age, it can mess you up a little bit. I think.
Straight up, there's a grenade in a sewer with somebody.
It starts off with a baby getting thrown in a river.
Jeez.
A la Jesus.
Are you sure that wasn't made like last week?
Moses.
That sounds super dark.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's how it starts, because they got their penguin baby, and they didn't like that he was a penguin baby, so they threw him in a river.
No wonder he's so bitter.
And he sailed into the sewers of Gotham City and somehow lived.
Yeah, no,
Don't ask
I feel
questions.
like the real villains of that story were his parents.
With the Cobblepots?
Yeah.
But it's okay, though, because Batman Forever, they redeemed themselves by introducing you to Nicole Kidman.
Yes.
Her character being in it, and you get to see her almost nude. She is nude, just wrapped in a bed sheet.
And that would not have been a Craig watching at 10 years old.
Yeah, no.
Does that shock anyone?
No.
Yeah, no. Not whatsoever.
I don't think Craig before the age of 17 would have wanted to watch that.
Anywho, should we move on to the next Batman question? Okay. Yes. Well, the next one was the best animated movies, because there's a bunch. I was just curious which one you like the most. I know you've seen a bunch of them, Andrew. I know you got most of them.
Does it have to be like the ones that I know you're talking about, or can it be like the Lego ones? It's not going to be the Lego ones, but
for Craig's sake, it can be a Lego one. Yes.
Okay.
Well, because that's my choice. There you go. No, you don't even have to come back to me anymore.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah, no, there's a lot.
I'm gonna say Batman Bad Blood.
Oh, okay.
Or the Red Hood.
Red Hood's really good.
I'm leaning more towards Bad Blood, because you get to see Nightwing take more of a leadership role in the team.
Yep.
And they introduce you to Batwoman, Cassandra Cain. You get to see Damian come back, because at the end of Batman vs. Robin, Robin's whole thing is, hey, listen, I don't want to be like Talon and just kill people to solve my issues, but I can't just be like you either. I got to figure out myself. I'm going to go to this monastery and become a monk child. And then he finds out that Batman's gone missing, and he's like, oh fuck, never mind, peace out. Yeah. Back to the life. And you do get to see that brotherly bond between.
Yeah, no, I really like that about that one too. Like, you get that little bit of tension at first between, you know, Damian and Nightwing. Or which one is it?
Yeah, it's Nightwing.
You know, I'm forgetting which Robin's Nightwing.
It's Damien. Oh, it's Dick Grayson.
Dick. Yeah, I thought it was. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like that.
If I remember correctly, they haven't introduced Tim, and they haven't introduced Red Hood.
Okay.
Drawing a blank on his name.
Jason,
yeah, Jason Todd.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's hard to keep track.
They've mentioned them, but they haven't brought them in yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I would have to say mine would probably be this. I'm going a little further back, but I just watched this over the weekend, and I remember watching this when I was younger. And it's Mask of the Phantasm. Do you remember that one?
Yes, Mask of the Phantasm with the where his girlfriend plays the.
Yes, which to this day is always like I always forget, and that's what I love the most about it. Is like
they reference that in an episode of Justice League.
Oh, do they?
I believe it's one of the final episodes of Justice League Unlimited. It might be the second last episode. They do a tie-up like finishing episode for Batman Beyond.
Okay.
Okay, and they go through like the story of how like Terry McGinnis is actually Bruce Wayne's like genetic son.
Oh, okay.
Because they used like Bruce Wayne's DNA to like clone himself and like give you Terry.
Okay.
And then they were supposed to put Terry through like that traumatic thing of like his parents dying at a younger age, like as a kid. Amanda Waller hires the Phantasm to do it. And I remember watching that episode, and I'm like, "Holy shit!"
That's awesome.
And
That's
it was
a crazy
amazing.
connection.
Yeah, like it was really only one of those connection or like those references that like someone who watched it. It was a total nostalgia move because kids younger than me would not have known who the hell the Phantasm
kids
is.
Just watching it on like Saturday morning cartoons at that point, yeah.
They would have been like, "Oh, she looks cool. That character looks cool."
They wouldn't even maybe known it was a she at that point, too.
Yeah, like the Mask of the Phantasm was phenomenal, especially because they did bring in the Joker as well.
Yep, Joker's a part of it too.
And I like that it's got that like Bruce Timm animation style as well.
Yep, that's
like that original Bruce Timm style.
Yeah, it's connected. I think it's obviously connected into the original animated series.
I think it takes place in between like season 1 and season 2 or something like that.
Some connection.
Because it's definitely before like new Batman adventures.
Yeah.
Which I still haven't gotten to. I want to. I just haven't made it that far yet.
There's a lot to keep up with. There's a lot.
Like I've watched seasons 1 through 3 of the Batman.
Yeah.
And then I didn't watch 4, and then I went and watched Justice League. So I'm missing this whole pre-chapter of Justice League.
That's hilarious. I have been meaning to start it over again since I got them all on DVD. It's a little bit of a commitment to get through all those. It's a lot.
I feel you. What's your? Oh, you just said it was the Phantasm one. What would your number 2 be though?
Number 2. Well, I watched Sub-Zero this weekend, which I liked.
Yes.
That was pretty good.
Did you get the double
I got
pack?
that double
okay,
pack.
cool.
Amazon double pack.
Yep.
Of course.
I have it right.
Mine's further. I can't reach it from here. There it is.
Right here.
Yeah,
that's the one?
Yeah, that's what I was watching on the weekend. Yep.
I've got them both on VHS as well. Just
I
in case.
remember those VHSs. I used to have those way back in the day as well, and yeah.
See, the Sub-Zero one's cool because like it gives you that like almost like 50s Gotham City style.
Yeah, I like that.
And they show you the Dick Grayson who's with Barbara Gordon, and you show her as Batgirl, and then she's the one who deals with Mr. Freeze, and you get I can't remember his name, and I'm not going to pretend like I do. The little Inuit boy.
Oh yeah, I forget his name.
Inuit Andy? Must be Inuit Andy.
No.
No, I know. I'm kidding. It was a joke. Come on.
With Mr. Freeze, and he's got the polar bears.
Yeah, the polar bears I liked. I'm like, that's badass. I don't know why they just respect you because you go in the water too. Okay, cool. I like it. Why not?
Why not? You're the alpha. I get it. But like the whole reason he's doing it, like it's almost admirable.
Yeah, I always like his motivations in the animated series, especially because it is pretty like knowable. He does go about it the wrong way most of the time. But I mean,
well, even in like Batman Beyond, like they have the one episode where like they bring him back.
True, yeah.
Like they let him go free, and like he starts off like he's trying to be good, and then he realizes the world's a shit place.
Yeah.
And he kind of goes nuts, and then at the end he's like, "Listen, get out of here! Like I'm the issue here. I need to go."
Yeah.
And the whole thing is just like him trying to like die.
Yeah.
It's super dark, but at the same time you're like, you know what? You go, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, it's your time. I get it.
I feel you.
I feel you.
That, and just it was cool to see the motorcycle that Dick Grayson rides. Just
I
that
like
alone,
that he
that was
steals it too,
badass.
like,
Yeah.
The line he says is, "Here, take my vet," and he throws it at the guy
Yeah.
who just fell off the bike.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, that's awesome. Like, at least
Must
you
be nice.
traded.
Did you talk to Bruce first? I know he bought you that car. I know he did.
It's 100% not even in his name. It's just,
No, it's not even his vet. He just took someone else's vet keys and like, have this.
Yeah, take this. But, yeah. But I only had one other question, but I feel this
Okay.
one's not super fair for Craig, and I'm not sure exactly why I wrote it down because we didn't really talk comics. But do you have a favorite Batman like comic storyline or comic in general? I know we're not the biggest comic. I think you've read more than I have, definitely, because you at least have.
The Killing Joke would probably be my favorite one.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah.
I did like the Gotham by Gaslight as well,
Oh, I haven't gotten to that one
which
yet.
also recently got turned into a movie.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to either of those yet, but I do want to watch
Like
those.
the Killing Joke, probably just because like it's such a serious one,
Yeah, it is.
and just I hate the ending, but I love it at the same time. Like it's so open.
Yeah,
And like
no, I
there's
get you, yeah.
and it's one of those things I like to read like the arguments online and see like how heated people get.
Yeah, arguing
their
either
side,
way.
and
It's
they're
like,
like,
oh, he
Batman
killed
killed
him.
him.
No, he didn't. Yeah, no, I know. I agree with you. That's a good reason.
Like I haven't read them, but I'd love to read them. Like the Batman, was it Batman Returns? Batman Returns or no, the Dark Knight Returns. Like I don't know if you've seen the movies.
The animated. I have.
Yeah,
seen
there's the two parts.
one of them. I think I've seen one of the two parts potentially.
Okay, which one have you seen?
I think I saw the first one.
What happens in that one? Is that the one with the mutants?
Maybe I haven't seen them.
Okay, what part did you see? Like what?
I just
what
remember
happened
him
in the
being on
movie?
a horse. It's
On
old
a
Bruce Wayne,
horse.
right?
Yeah.
And I remember at one point I think he rides a horse in it. Cause I just remember old Batman on an animated horse. And now
I
just
don't
not
remember
anything else.
that part. Clearly, that was not a major part in either of these movies.
Maybe I'm just morphing it with some other thing. Maybe I'm thinking Justice League, the movie.
Maybe you just want to see Batman on a horse.
I do love Batman on a horse, and I don't know why.
I'm on a horse. I'm Batman. But no, like I haven't read it yet, but I'd love to read that one just because I really enjoyed the movies, and I've loved that they've used the scene from like the second part, like where it's where it's Batman versus Superman.
Yep.
Like where he's got the mech suit, like they use that in Batman versus Superman. It's in the Dark Knight Returns movie. They use it in the Batman, one of the animated Batman shows.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of the show. I think it was just called. No, it wasn't the Batman. It was Batman Brave and the Bold. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
There's that one. Like I've seen a couple different versions of it where it's him versus Superman.
Yeah.
And I really like that, and I'd like to see that like on paper, especially because like I like the fact that he kicks Superman's ass.
No,
deep down. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd like
And
to read that as well.
Old Batman kicks his
Yeah.
ass too, even older than like Ben Affleck. 'Cause
Yeah. Well, even like Ben Affleck's version, like late 40s, like that's old enough. Like
that's fair.
His
It's still,
body,
he's still
his
past
body's
his
mangled,
prime,
and
he's
you see it
fighting
in.
a god.
They showed it. Yeah, they showed in Justice League where his body's like just he's got that huge bruise on the back of his
He's just
shoulder,
messed up. Yeah.
and you see all the scars. Like it's not as scarred as Stephen Amell's arrow is,
Yeah.
but
Batman hasn't been tortured as much.
no, he hasn't because he gets through his shit.
Yeah. And he wears Kevlar.
Yeah, that's true.
Why are you running
He's
around
smart.
in a cloth hood, Oliver? You a millionaire.
Why are your arms out? Okay, you had that one season where you literally had no sleeves.
No,
Was
I
it
get
summer
That's
in that season?
intimidation. That's why I went sleeveless when we played football. It's an intimidation thing.
I did the same thing, but then he goes from that, and then all of a sudden he's got full sleeve again. He's like, "No, it gets cold at night.
It's cold
I
in
need
Vancouver.
a jacket."
It's really. I feel like that just depends on what like literally what time of year they're shooting in Vancouver. It's like, can he survive without? I know this last season there was this thing that he was like, "Don't do any shirtless scenes, please." Or one of the last couple seasons, he said
Okay.
that was like part of his thing. He's like, "I don't feel like keeping abs for the whole year. Please don't make me do a shirtless scene this year." And I'm like, "I love you. That's awesome."
He's the best. He's the best.
great,
I'd watch him as Batman if they ever made him a Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he's pretty much Bruce Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all the Batman-related questions I had written down for us.
Did you answer your own question?
My favorite comic? Oh, maybe
Yes.
not. I guess I didn't. See, this one's a tough one for me because I haven't read too many. I've read a lot of the different graphic novels, especially the ones that have movies based off them, because I always like having that connection.
Yeah.
But it's a little cliche, but I really like Batman Year One. It's just a really great intro. I like seeing that first little bit of that connection between him and Jim Gordon building. You get a little bit more. I like the Jim Gordon character in that because he's a cheater, and I just like that he seems a little bit more real in it, right? Like I believe that Jim Gordon in the comic a little bit more, and yeah, so it's probably that one just because that's technically the only one I own right now. But yeah, but the new I've been reading his the DC Rebirth Batman and all those different ones. And there was one called Batman All-Star where he's taking Two-Face like across the country, and he's just getting tracked down by all these different things, by all the different villains, because Two-Face put out an offer being like, I'm going to take the 3 biggest crime bosses, all their money, and give it to whoever stops Batman from getting me to this destination. And so like the whole book's just all these different
Batman's
villains.
just like, I could use the extra money. That'll subsidize the whole Batcave, and I won't have to dip into Wayne Tech funds.
No, Batman's trying to save Two-Face, because in this one he's like, they were friends when they were kids. They went to a summer camp, and that's how he knew Harvey Dent.
So it's kind of like the animated TV show.
Yeah,
where
I think
like
that's
they were
the
best
connection.
buds.
Yeah. Well, see, it's actually weird because in the book they were just best friends at a summer camp, but they didn't know who was who because this was some exclusive summer camp where they didn't want to tell each other's names so that no one knew. It was like, oh, this is a rich kid and that's not. So they went by they just went by like boy A and boy B or something like that. But then afterwards, they found out. But this in the book, in the comic, it's just a lot of flashbacks. But I just really like it because I like any comic where we get a bunch of different villains, or any animated one where we get a bunch of the different Batman's got such a huge rogue gallery. I like when we just take a bunch of them, throw them in for even like 2 minutes, and you just literally just swats them away, and they're just speed bumps most of the time.
That's like in Batman and Superman Public Enemies.
Yes,
the animated movie, where it's literally just like they become public enemies and they're fighting all of their rogues at the same time they're fighting all of the Justice League.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. God, I love when they do that stuff. That's a good animated one, too.
Absolutely. Or like even like Assault on Arkham.
I was just thinking that. I thought that's where you're going to go when you said
with the Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
like I love that. Especially because like there's the one part where like they show, was it Snake or whatever his name is? Or Spider? I can't remember his name. The assassin, anyways.
Yeah.
Where he fights Batman, and then like they cut away and they come back, and like it's the guy in that suit, and you're like, oh shit, he killed Batman, and then you're like, no, I didn't kill Batman, because then you find out later like he didn't kill Batman. Batman actually swapped his costume with his, and came out because Bruce Wayne is the man.
He is. He's
like even just the scene. It's not even a fight scene. It's just where he gets in the car and he's like, "Hey, Alfred, give me the footage from Arkham tonight." And they show it, and he's like, "Oh, that's Sal or whatever his name is. He's not on this night's crew."
Yeah.
And he just knows.
That's how he knows something's going on that night. It's like, oh,
he's like,
damn,
next level
you're the greatest
genius.
freaking detective
ever. I know there's arguments that can be made that Dick Grayson was the better he was the best Batman ever because he learned from Bruce Wayne. He learned all of his traits, but he got to be his own too. He got to learn from the mistakes and the right decisions that he made, and yada whatever. Still, Batman still counts.
Yeah, still counts.
Still counts.
I feel like Craig doesn't really have any input for this question whatsoever.
For the comics, no.
Yeah, no. So do you want to start off what you watched this week then, Craig?
Sure.
Batman for now.
Wake up, let's do this.
Hey, I've been awake the entire time. I've been listening.
I got secrets.
Just gotta be ready for when I randomly throw to him, being like, "Hey, Craig, give us your opinion on something you've never seen."
Yeah.
He's like, well,
stuff.
Every episode.
All of it. Awesome. Ghosts. Probably.
Bigfoot. Hope so. Aliens. There's gotta be. Forgot to grow up? Get the fuck out of here.
Well, I did forget to grow up. I watched a lot of Archer this week.
Okay.
A lot of Archer this week. I am on Archer Vice now.
Right on.
Just because I'm just pounding away at the episodes.
You're
that
on
show gets so weird as you go through it. Holy crap.
And I love it, though. I'm
Oh, yeah.
not the biggest animated guy, but that is probably my favorite animated show,
It's
to be honest.
all over the place. Like, they start kind of trying at their best to have some sort of idea, but then, like, about halfway through the first couple seasons, they switch to basically the entire thing's continuous dialogue. They're just cutting back and forth. So somebody will say something, it'll cut to somebody else answering their question, but it'll be a completely different context.
Yep.
And by the time they get to Archer Vice, it's basically just all the characters together in one spot saying ridiculous things and other people saying other ridiculous things that have nothing to do with what they're saying. And then there's cocaine involved. And that's pretty much it.
That is the show.
And I love it. I love every second of it.
Great, yeah.
So I'm rewatching Archer still. It'll be a couple more weeks probably of continuing at that. I watched 2 new episodes of Explained because of schedules.
Yes.
The first one being Weed. I'll give you guys one guess at who narrated the Weed episode.
Snoop Dogg?
It was not Snoop Dogg, although they really missed their boat on that one.
Was it?
It was Tommy Chong.
Yeah.
Or he did a interview in it. It's somebody else I didn't know. I know that Tommy Chong was involved. I may have gotten secondhand high from the episode. I don't know. I learned a lot of stuff.
Oh, I'm getting a context high.
Context high. Exactly. That fits so well for this.
Thank you. I'm so happy you said that. I was trying to think of something. I don't know why I couldn't think of that.
Context high. That fits so well.
I was trying to think of some disclaimer.
I'm not taking credit for it. That's a Stewie Griffin reference from Family Guy, the episode where Brian Griffin, the dog, takes his mushrooms and gets super baked during a hurricane.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I think I'm getting a context high.
Yeah, but he says it because he doesn't know what he means.
Yep.
It was way more appropriate when you just said it now.
There we go. Because you're talking with the context.
Exactly, of watching the Weed. I didn't get. There's no way I got a contact high from watching a 20-minute documentary.
A context high, totally.
A context high, absolutely, and that's probably why I forgot that Tommy Chong didn't narrate it. There was some guy I didn't recognize the name, but I'm sure I heard the voice. Then this most recent week's episode was Tattoos, and that was interesting.
Oh,
yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, so I kind of talk about where tattoos came from, what they are, and how their perception has kind of changed through Western society.
That'd be really interesting to see,
start off as like decoration, and then they became like ways to mark prisoners, but then it's too easy to remove or to go over, which is why you see a lot of the old tattoos that are on the arms and things, because it's going over that's where you think of a tattoo, is because it's going over top of the prisoner marking.
That makes sense.
And then they go over the Japanese tattoo art and then kind of where it is now, and then what context it has in modern society, that kind of stuff. So it was interesting. Lots of good stuff about tattoos. I was away for work this week, or within the span of this episode recording. And so I watched a lot of cable, which is new for me. I don't like it. I don't like it. You stupid commercials can go away, please.
Hey man, that pays my bills.
I don't care. The commercials can stop. I have had enough of the commercials. The only spot that television commercials have any sort of like point of nostalgia for me is during Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, and that's because I need my Centrum Silver commercial to feel like I've truly watched something. But
you watching that on Omni?
CTV actually back in the day.
CTV, okay.
Yep, CTV back in the day.
It was on both though, cause
over the air. Yeah, because they're played at the same time.
Yeah, it's the same feed. They just put on 2 different channels.
Exactly.
I just want to say it was Kevin Smith who's the narrator.
I was gonna ask.
I knew I recognized him, but I couldn't Like,
you
I knew
said you didn't recognize the name. I'm like, I figured you would have recognized Kevin Smith's name.
I do recognize Kevin Smith. I don't remember what I was thinking. Context high.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next one after.
You're still rocking the
it
context
makes
high, eh?
sense,
Yeah, context high. But while I was watching cable television, I watched a couple features that A&E. Yeah, I was watching A&E because they were showing this hour-long thing on like sketch comedy and how it's shown up on TV. So that was kind of interesting because there was Carol Burnett and SNL and Monty Python and all kinds of stuff like that. So I was watching that because I enjoy those sorts of things. Then they go into this feature on how they made Jaws, and that was interesting too. It was an hour-long thing about like all the interviews with like Steven Spielberg and how it was like he got fired every day because of how long it took and how specific they were going to want to make it, and like how they did these shots and how hard it was to film on the water, and like if we want to move for a camera angle then we got to take an hour to move it, and like how bad the shark was breaking down and stuff.
Yeah, I heard a lot about that.
Then they do a Ferris Bueller one, and that was really good too. Interviews with a lot of people involved, how they shot the car scene when Cameron kicks it off the balcony, how they shot the scene of the parade in downtown Chicago. Turns out they just had an actual parade and injected themselves into it.
That's great.
That seems like the best way to do it.
That does seem like the easiest way to do it. Yeah.
I think the best thing I learned though was how they did the camera or the car shot, because they had one shot to do it. They made 3 cars, 3 replicas, right? One for driving, one for showing, and one for dropping off the.
And one for destroying.
Yeah, one for dropping off the back of the house, and they attached the back end of the car to a chain. Brought that out the back of the house, wrapped it around the front of the house, and attached it to a tow truck, and then they timed it. And when they hit the time, the tow truck took off and ripped it out of the house. It was kind of cool to hear how like they were worried that it wasn't going to make it. Like it was just going to kind of just fall really gently, but they got real lucky and it flew out of the house.
They made the least believable part of that movie for me, which is that Cameron's father did not come home and gut him.
Yeah, he should.
We don't know. There was never a sequel.
That's true. There never was a sequel. They talked about.
They
addressed this.
How, like they'd never been closer.
They addressed the sequel.
Do they?
They addressed like the why didn't we make a sequel, and it's kind of because Matthew Broderick kind of left it alone, and they just kind of never like. I guess John Hughes said he'll make it when he's got his Ferris, and Matthew Broderick just went on and did other stuff. And he says in retrospect he should have just made a sequel.
I'm glad he did it. No, I love that movie. That's one of my favorite.
That's my favorite. Kill a lot of franchises.
I think that was Matthew Broderick saying I haven't made money since Inspector Gadget.
Yeah, but that movie was amazing. He probably made $700 million. He
probably made so much money off that movie.
The last time I even heard about Matthew Broderick, he was on a Broadway play with a set.
Is he married to the Sex and the City lady?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Matthew Broderick was in Tower Heist, but he
I saw that.
He was absolutely in
Forgettable?
I was gonna say
he was in Oh Hello.
Oh Hello on Broadway.
But the point of this A&E story is that they showed the Ferris Bueller one, then they showed the Jaws one again.
So they TLC'd you?
Yes.
So they showed you the same show.
They showed me sketch comedy, Jaws, Ferris Bueller, Jaws. So I watched the Jaws one twice because why not?
They should have thrown in like Star Trek or something.
They should have, but they didn't.
Jaws 2.
They went to Jaws. So I said,
or Jaws 5.
So for the next night, I said, forget this A&E. I'm gonna watch some HGTV because what could possibly go wrong with that?
All of
and
it.
The answer comes to you 2 Love It or List It episodes and 1 House Hunters later, in that people suck.
People are the friggin' worst.
List It irritates me to a breaking point because these people like are ridiculous. The one guy in Love It or List It, they're talking about buying a $500,000 house in North Carolina, which, first of all, good for you. I don't know what you do, but like
You figured it out.
Yeah, obviously you lucked into this house. They admit flat out at the beginning that it was a family friend who was getting rid of the house, and the only reason they got the house in that neighborhood at that price point is because they knew the person who was selling it. Otherwise, it would have gone for way more.
Which seems like an ass backwards thing. Like, I would never sell you guys my house because I want top value for it. And Craig, I know you're cheap.
Yep.
Like,
I'm coming for
cheaper.
you.
And yeah, and like why would you sell property to someone for less than it's worth? Like, that just doesn't seem like a good business decision to me.
I don't know. So
Like,
they fully admit that they've lucked into this house, and it's an old house, but it's a nice house. It's got a huge property, all kinds of stuff like that. And so they're talking about this guy's like, oh yeah, no, we got to move out. Like, but you guys are getting the full value of the house now because you're going to sell it. And then they're talking about putting $130,000 of renovations in. It bothered me. Then I watched Love It or List It Vancouver, which made things even worse because these people are talking about their $1.5 million budget.
Yep.
As like, you guys, bought your house, what, 25 years ago for nothing because no one wanted to live out there, and now here we are, $1.5 million later. So I was happy that there was no more Love It or List
If you owned
It.
a house in Vancouver that you bought for, let's say, even like 200,000, like 20 years
Even
ago,
500,000.
and you sold it now for your 1.5, immediately the first thing I would do is move out to the East Coast.
Yep.
I would like
Here we
buy
come, New
something out there
Brunswick.
and have $1 million just sit in the bank.
Yep. You could get a
you can
nice
buy like
house.
100 acres.
Yeah, in the middle of nowhere.
A huge like 1,700 square foot house. Have like 3 boats and still have $1 million left in the bank.
Exactly. So, yeah, I was happy to be done with Love It or List It, so I decided they're going to put House Hunters on. How could this possibly go wrong? I follow the Novelty Twitter account. I know how bad it is. Yeah. It was horrible. This married couple looking for their beach house in South freaking Florida. Was it Florida? Something like that. It was either Florida or Orange County. It doesn't matter.
What was the couple's name? Was it Craig and Stasia?
No, it wasn't Craig and Stasia, but they still didn't deserve their beach house. These two, everything that they wanted to look at, like they were the polar opposites. The guy really likes a modern build, you know, the rectangles and the flat roofs and all this. She hates it. She really likes a tile roof. He hates it. She really wants to live away from the beach. He wants to live right on top of the beach. She really wants a lot of property. He would rather have next to nothing. She wants the inside of the house to be all white and bright, and he would rather see black tile, black wall, black ceiling. She really likes to have windows. He likes bars. I don't know. It was bad. I could not believe these people were married, had children together, and now you're realizing that you hate everything about each other?
Now that you have nothing in common.
Like, how do you even find a house?
That's such a Florida problem, though.
And then their budget's, like, ridiculous. Obviously.
Well, they're searching for their beach house. I assumed it was.
Yes.
Max budget of $7.
With 7 kids and 9 on the way. Yeah, so that's what I watched this week. Most of it was good. Some of it was infuriating.
For sure. Like, every time I hear about HGTV, I just immediately think of one of the memes I've seen on some type of social media, where it's like, she watches butterflies for a living, and he sharpens pencils part-time. Max budget $1.9 million.
I was really hoping that HGTV would be like a rerun of a show I was on or something like that, but no. No luck. No luck.
Nope. You're not that famous, Greg.
I'm close, though.
Close.
No one recognizes me for my TV spots.
We do. That's why you're our producer. Because you're famous. You know, you got the hookups.
Because 3 times I was on TV.
Yep. That's 2 times more than me, my man.
Whoa, who wants to talk about what they watched this week?
Well, I'll take that from there. I feel like Scott's list is a little more adventurous than mine is. Because mine consists of a lot of Batman. I've got Batman Forever. I've got Lego Batman. I've got Justice League.
Right
I've
on.
got two dogs going nuts in the background right now. I've got
It's my favorite Batman movie. I forgot.
Yeah.
Why did we talk about that today?
Batman, two dogs going nuts in the background.
Yeah.
That's the side story from Dark Knight where he gets bitten by the Doberman.
Oh, right. Of course.
But anyway, so I got Justice League. I got Batman vs Superman, the greatest movie ever made.
Yes.
I've got Harry Potter's number 2 through 5, which
Oh,
I've been
damn.
watching at the shop.
Okay, that makes more sense. Right on.
And I've gotten into Parks and Rec,
Oh, nice.
which
I
I've
wanted to
seen
start
episodes here and there, but I've never really watched it.
that. Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I always forget that like I've seen a few episodes, and like Nick Offerman and like his wife Megan Mullally
Yes.
are in it, and I always forget who Megan Mullally is. And then in the show, she plays his ex-wife, and they hate each other. They absolutely detest one another, but they're like the most in love couple in Hollywood. And I just love Nick Offerman. His whole character he hates the government.
But he
hates
works
it.
for the municipal government.
So he's the manager of the Parks and Rec department. Like, how do you hate government? And like his whole thing is like, I got into it because I wanted to be there to see it burn. And he worked his way up to management.
It happens sometimes, you know. You're working.
Like he
Ruined
hates the
sometimes.
system. I just watched an episode where Aziz Ansari's character shoots him in the back of the head by accident.
Yes.
Like they're out quail hunting or pheasant hunting, and he accidentally hits him in the back of the head with some shot.
Okay.
And Leslie takes the fall for him, and he's straight pissed at Leslie for shooting him in the back of the head. And then Tom, Aziz Ansari, comes out and says, "Oh hey, it was actually me. Leslie was just taking the fall. You shouldn't be mad at her." And then he's like, "You took the fall for him. You're the man. You're the man. Because fuck the system." Because Tom was looking at a $25,000 fine if he did it. So he said fuck the system because he hates government, even though he's a major key player in the Pawnee
Yeah.
municipal scheme. But I also watched a couple episodes of Toast of London again. And guys, I gotta tell you, my girlfriend does not like it.
You know what? I didn't really like her anyway.
Whoa.
You
Whoa.
went there, Craig. Wow. Okay.
Whoa.
She listens.
Yeah, she does.
Come at me, Kendall. I dare you.
She'll kick your ass, man.
That's fine.
She knows where you live.
Kind of. Or did you show her where my apartment is? You've
I
been
know
here
where you
once.
I know where you
You
live.
haven't even visited, and you drive by? Really?
Making love with the lights on, whore. I miss you so much. But anyway, so I watched a couple more episodes of Toast London, and she pointed something out to me that I feel like it's gonna bug me from now on.
Oh no, don't do it.
So I'm not gonna tell you.
You do it anyway.
But can you tell me?
Warn the nice listeners. Here, I'll cover I'll cover my ears. Go for it.
It's actually not that bad. She said that they move scenes too often. Like every time they talk, they quickly shift. There's no scenes of like both characters in one. And I was like, I don't really notice or care that much. Like I just love the show and how obtuse it is.
So what was
Here
the
you go,
point?
Craig.
I could hear you at headphones.
Oh.
Yeah, I was.
I thought you took
It
him
was
out.
all for the joke.
I thought you took him out.
He was committing.
But yeah, I was like, oh, that's not a huge deal to me.
Yeah.
I never
It-
What
noticed
was-
weird things like that.
What was her point?
Oh, it was just it moved too quick. She didn't like it.
Oh, I liked that, but it was just like ridiculous.
Just constant moving.
Yeah, just because
Like,
it was a lot of stupid all rolled into one.
The episode we watched was the I think it was the second episode with the director who killed a guy,
Yes.
and where they've got him by the balls in the shower. Like Benedict Cumberbatch caved in half an hour.
Who?
So I watched that. I also finished BoJack Horseman,
Good for you.
unfortunately, but because now I gotta wait a month for season 6 to come out. Phenomenal show, Scott. You should get to it.
Yeah. That's all I have to
It's-
say.
seem like it was gonna be my cup of tea either, but like it sucked me in.
Okay,
Like it's funny. Like, it's really weird.
It's funny and serious too. They don't.
Yeah.
They deal with a lot of really heavy stuff.
Yeah, like child stars being drug addicts and their lives being ruined by Hollywood.
Public like acknowledgement of abortion and alcoholism, drug use, all kinds of really nasty stuff.
And how celebrities just can't go places. They have to be like followed all the time. But I like that the birds are the paparazzi.
Yes.
And they're just like so bad at their job. Like that's just one of those long running jokes in the show that don't mean anything. And what was this? I can't remember. I think it was episode 2. Princess Carolyn, the agent for BoJack Horseman, who's a cat. Her call waiting music is Jellicle Cats from the musical Cats, which is a callback to 2 weeks ago
When we talked cats.
when we talked about Cats the musical. And it's so funny because there's one point where you actually listen to like 2 minutes of the song.
What?
It's
Like,
it's a
you listen
weird
to
ass show.
And then they cut like 40. There's an episode where there's no dialogue. There's some at the beginning and at the very end.
Yeah.
And then 17 minutes of him being underwater.
Yeah.
And just making. Blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
like
Can't talk
underwater
to the
noise.
can't talk to the fish people.
No.
Trying to catch up with this. Is it Kelsey? Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
And then there's I absolutely love Mr. Peanut Butter.
He's so
He's
weird.
so funny. And what is this, a crossover episode? And
Where
then
he uses that a bunch of times.
yeah, all the time he uses it. And just because he's just like the really nice, happy-go-lucky guy, and BoJack hates it because he's depressed about his life.
Yeah.
And
Up until her suicide via overdose, I really liked Sarah Lynn.
yeah,
Especially when they show you the flashbacks to the show, it's like that's too much, man.
I use that all the time.
No one understands it though.
No, because no one watches the show.
You mean I gotta eat all this pasta? That's too much, man.
And even when she seems like she's back on the right track, she's all right.
Like that episode where she's celebrating her 9-month of being sober. And then BoJack calls her and says, "Hey, you want to get fucked up?" She's like, "Yeah!" Rips the calendar away, punches a hole in the wall, and there's nothing but booze, coke. There's art done up with crystal meth. You got Vicodin covered Vicodin instead of like mints in the foyer. Like just drugs everywhere.
Yeah, it's and then Wyatt Cenac is as the BuzzFeed article writer that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because everyone can get published on BuzzFeed.
Everybody can get published on BuzzFeed. It's a lovely little
Like
joke.
that show and Mike Tyson Mysteries are probably my favorite animated like shows that have more than one season on Netflix. Netflix has really good animated stuff now that I think of it.
Yeah.
Like even Final Space was really good. Big Mouth was like godly.
I'm sure there'll be another season of that soon.
It's
Hopefully.
coming. I saw a post on Nick Kroll's Instagram page
Yes.
about the writers and the crew that work on it. And there's no way he's just grouping them all together for fun when they're not working on it.
Yeah.
Well, it's been almost a year since
I know.
it came out, so
I know, and I'm gonna have to watch it all in a day again.
Yep. I will watch it the next day. I'll take the day off.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, Andrew. Wait, why can I? What? Fuck it, I'm not coming in.
Yeah.
But the only other thing I watched was Train 48,
Obviously.
which is amazing.
Na na
The
na na
best-
na na
Na na
train.
na 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 train. It's
I'm
the
missing
best.
something.
The best
That's
Canadian
the theme
soap
song.
opera
I will send you the link
ever
to it
made.
later.
Okay.
Yeah, in the theme, you can't understand any of the words. It's like, and then you get to the chorus, which is na 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 train.
Yep. Well, because it's train. I think like the song's called Trains Go.
Okay.
And yeah, it's incredibly Canadian show. right down
whole
to the
premise of the show,
theme song and just all of it. Oh,
like we talked about it. I believe it was 2 weeks ago. We talked about it, 3 weeks ago.
sometimes.
2 weeks was musicals, right?
I don't know. We talked about it on one of the most recent episodes.
Yeah, the Canadian one.
And I guess it was the Canadian one, yeah. And the whole premise of it is that it takes place on the GO train, home from work.
Oh, okay, I remember
Like the commuter train.
Yeah.
And Craig said he found it on Prime, and I've watched like half of season 1 because there's 18 seasons.
Cool.
18 seasons. With like 20-something episodes a season, 20-something minutes an episode.
Yeah.
3 years. It takes place over 3 years, 18 seasons. There's more seasons of the show than there is seasons throughout 3 years.
Was it like a weekly or a daily show?
Yeah.
It was a daily show, and every season's a month.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, like a daily show. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Was it some?
It's amazing.
Damn, that's so much.
It's so
That's
much
a
content,
lot.
but it's so
much.
bad.
Well,
It's
that
so
makes
bad
sense
it's good.
though.
It
they were
tackles
trying to
all the
make
big
so
stuff.
many episodes. Like
Like,
I can only imagine trying to come up with this.
Well,
shit
considering
today.
the set is a GO train, it's not really difficult to come up with. To film.
scenarios, yeah.
like the characters are amazing. They've got one girl who she kind of reminds me of like the lead singer of I can't remember the band. Oh, it's gonna bug me. I can picture her. Her hair's like pink and blue and shit.
Terrible.
Name a song.
They sing the song. I don't know any of their older stuff. Paramore. That's
Yeah, that's the
Paramore.
one. That's the one I thought you were talking about.
Yes.
It was going to
Yes.
be Paramore
She-
or Evanescence. So
Yeah, no, not Evanescence. She looks like the lead singer of Paramore. And then you've got the guy I texted you about it, Scott, the guy who plays not the Spectre, the Ragman.
Right, yeah, you texted me that.
An
yeah.
Arrow. He's in it. He plays this kid who's an artist. It's got some guy who's a total dick named Pete, who's some like financial bank like
Yeah, no, I
investor.
got that when you
Who's
said
a
Pete,
total.
but Pete looks
a-
exactly like Agent Mulder on X-Files.
A little bit, yeah. Like a slightly more tan version.
Yes.
He's a total dick. Total dick. Like there's an episode where he's trying to help this older lady sell her chocolate bars, like for the Girl Guides, because we rock that Girl Guides lifestyle on Train 48. And he's like jacking the money. He's like just openly just taking the money.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not
we're
even much.
$4
It's like a
short.
couple
Who
bucks.
stole it?
Yeah. Like, come on,
God.
Pete. Who didn't give me the money?
Fucking.
So he's a dick. Although I gotta say, they go over it. There's another guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he is the definition of a hoser.
Okay.
Okay, like he shows up and he's always got his baseball cap slightly
Yeah.
bent. He's a smoker. He's got his sleeves like rolled up to here.
Oh, yeah.
All he talks is sports. He's in construction.
Of course.
Like he's like, and he freaking talks like this, eh? Like this is how he talks. And he's like, yeah. So I was watching the game last night, and like he's a
Up
total
in Barrie,
loser.
we don't have time for that, eh?
Yeah, up
Like
in Barrie.
up in Barrie, dude sounds like he's from out east. He's from friggin' Barrie.
Up in Barrie, yeah. We used to smash our teeth out just playing hockey out on the ice, eh? Like
In
he's like the
Barrie.
definition. And then you've got a couple like the corporate business types, and it's just like they're all on this commuter rail. They all know each other. They all talk, and they tackle like real serious. Like it's like they opened up a paper, like the like National Post or something, which is
Well,
one of the sponsors, I believe.
that's what
I
it
think
sounds
I
like.
think they read National Post on the train.
That would make sense.
Well, that's
how
one
it
of the
would be a
sponsors.
daily
Them
show
and
then.
Fido or something like that, or them and Telus or
It's
something.
Fido, because Fido's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. So like those are the sponsors for it, but
Well,
like they
this
cover everything.
explains a
Like
whole bunch more.
the first like 3 episodes of the first season, they talk about like in vitro fertilization, and then they show you that the Paramore girl, like she's a lesbian. So they're talking about like gay rights now. Like some people are against it, some people are for it. Some people think that like in vitro fertilization is wrong. Some people are like, well, just have a kid, be good, do your shit, do your thing. And like they really cover every possible thing. And then they've got like the one guy, I can't remember his name either. He's a Korean man, but he's getting married, and him and his fiance do not really get along. So everyone's like, dude, don't do it. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, I love her. But he plays the father on Kim's Convenience.
Oh, okay.
But he sounds like you.
No!
There's no accent whatsoever.
No! He does not!
Yep.
Believe that.
Yeah. He plays like he has no accent whatsoever, and I was looking at his face and I was like, man, this guy looks familiar. Wait, is that the dad? So I go to IMDb and I find out it's the dad, except he's got a super heavy, thick Korean accent.
Well, because he does it up.
He's got the big beard going in Kim's Convenience, and I was like, oh, he's a Canadian actor for sure.
Yep.
They all are.
All of them, because God bless Canada. Actually, I think one of them's UK. I think.
You guys mentioning like the National or whatever Post thing makes a lot of sense for this show now. I'm just like, oh, okay, they paid for this show. This was all National Post marketing, being like, oh, people aren't.
They had a
$40,000
budget per episode.
Yeah.
I feel like 38,000 of that had to have been salaries.
Probably.
Man, it's worse than the CFL.
Yeah. But no, this show it's so bad, but it's so good at the same time. But that's all I watched that I can remember, anyways.
Oh, right on. Well,
oh, that's not true. I remember when I went and saw Skyscraper as well.
Oh, did you? Okay.
That's what I saw Skyscraper.
And
that?
Do you regret every second of that?
Nev Campbell is a smoke show. So what did you watch, Scott?
Okay. Well, that transition just so great. But
That's all I want to say
the,
about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
I already mentioned the 2 Batman animated I watched. I watched the double feature that we showed before, which our audio listeners couldn't see. But I also watched the first 2 seasons of Ballers on Crave TV.
And how amazing is that show?
I freaking love that show. I can't wait for the 3rd season to get added. I'm glad they're making another season. It's enjoyable. Like I love the connection to the sports thing, but they're not focused on, like, it's not all about them playing the sport, it's about the business side of it, and I really like that from that perspective. The Rock's great. I like all the different celebrities and athletes they managed to come in, and I just really like that his character isn't that perfect. Like, his character's kind of shit at his job, and he's just trying to make it work, and he fucks up more
like
than
honestly, he spends more time being like the manager than he is like a financial guy.
That's what I thought the whole time too. Watching this, I'm like, why aren't you an agent?
He's a problem solver. He's like
a manager. Yeah.
like I like that the agent. I can't remember his name. I want to say it's Jay, but it's not Jay. Is it Jay?
It might be.
I can't remember. The agent.
Yeah.
He plays the barber Isaac in Ice Cube's Barbershop movies.
Oh, right. Okay.
And I love that. Actually, speaking of ballers, the guy who plays I can't remember his name. He's the guy who everyone hates the first season. He's the defensive tackle who plays for Dallas. Best bud.
Yeah.
Reggie.
Yeah.
He was actually at the Argos game last week.
What?
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Brush with celebrity.
Yes, the worst day of my life. He was there.
That's crazy.
He was there.
It's craziness.
Yeah, it was awesome to see like a celebrity, 2 celebrities, because Cardinal Offishall was there.
Not that necessarily counts, but
I like how you say that when you're at a sports game, a major sports game. Like, oh,
hey,
we got 2 celebrities.
Jeff got a tackle. Go, Jeff.
Jeff got multiple tackles.
Jeff got an announced tackle.
He did. We heard Jeff's name. Argos won. Anyways, go back to Ballers.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for more seasons, hopefully to get added to Netflix.
Yeah.
So I don't have to
Season 3 is amazing.
Yeah.
Season 4, I believe, comes out at some point in the next month or so.
Yeah, I think that's hitting HBO in the next few weeks or months or so. Probably September would be my guess.
Let's hope so, because it's usually like May, I think, that it comes out on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
unfortunately, because I gotta wait that long.
Yeah, well, I had to wait. Like, my only other option would be get a cable subscription and then subscribe to HBO.
I'm not doing that.
Yeah, no, neither am I.
I'm not that
committed. Like, it's not available on like Google or anything like that. Cause that's how I get my shows normally.
Well, you can pay for HBO. Like, you can get the HBO streaming.
No, you have to, like, the only way to get that is through a cable subscription in Canada.
Oh, you have to have.
Yeah, no, I looked for that for Westworld. When Westworld was starting
stupid.
up like 2 months ago, I was like, oh, okay, well, I can't get on Google. let's see if I can get HBO, because they've got a couple shows I keep up with, like Ballers now too, right? So I was going to look for it, and now in Canada, it's like pretty much all like the channels, you can only get them through a cable subscription. If you have a cable subscription, you can get all of them for free. You can watch anything you want online for free through like Space or freaking HBO and all that, but you have to have a cable subscription first. I was like, F that noise. So that's why I haven't watched Westworld Season 2 yet.
That's a piss off.
Yeah. But yeah, so I watched Ballers. I just checked out, I watched all of the new seasons of Suits that got added to Netflix over the weekend. Season 7, the first half. I think there's 6 more episodes to be added.
I think so. I have it on DVD, so I'm just going to watch it all in one go.
Well, I've watched the beginning of it. I love Suits. It's always fun. I like the way they...
Have they killed off Meghan Markle yet?
Not yet. We're getting to that. That's not a spoiler, don't worry, I knew that.
Like, honestly, like, I liked her character.
Yeah.
And then she became a royal, and they took out a whole island Costco for it. And it was all over TV, and it was all you heard about for a month. And I was like, you know what? Screw you, Meghan Markle. I'm sick of your character. I'm just going to go watch you get super, super hot at the beginning and take your clothes off, and I'm not going to watch you again after that. And I'm going to focus on Donna, because she's the best anyways.
Yeah, so I watched the beginning of season 7, so that was good. It's funny that Craig mentioned watching the making of Jaws, because I watched Jaws this weekend.
Oh.
Because there's The Meg's coming out this week, so I watched Jaws as a shark movie to make a YouTube video about. So yeah, I hadn't watched that though since I was a kid. Like, that's what I was just realizing when I was watching it. Like, it's one of those movies that we talk about a lot that it's like, oh, I just know the whole thing, so it's hard to go back to it. But I finally rewatched it because they're all, or at least 3 of them, are on Amazon Prime, so I checked it out.
Okay.
It was enjoyable. It's a good rewatch. I can see why it's a classic.
The Jaws movies are those Steven Spielberg movies that, like, still hold a candle to themselves. Like,
for sure.
There's still, like, quality movies, whereas I found some of the other Spielberg stuff, like, just comparing it to, like, the fact that he did set the way. Like, I think I talked about this before. Like, he paved the way for, like, what movies are now. He was the originator.
He was the first, like, blockbuster movie guy, in a sense.
Like, he was the number one go-to, but, like, everyone's followed suit, and they copied and pasted his formula to everything.
For sure, yeah.
But they've done it with more recent budgets and, like, updated technology, so they're actually better than Spielberg
some of the stuff,
is currently. Like, his old stuff was amazing because it was revolutionary.
Oh yeah.
But his new stuff, he's not even the master of it anymore because everyone else has just perfected it. I couldn't tell you
the last few things he's done. Yeah.
Ready Player One.
Ready Player fucking One.
Yeah, I was like, see, that's what I mean. Like, I was like, yeah, I think that was supposed to be him, right? Yeah. But it didn't feel enough like it.
No, it did not scream Spielberg. It just screamed. That was
supposed to be his return to form, though. Yeah. So I watched Jaws. What else did I watch? Oh, I just watched 2 other Netflix shows. One was Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown, because that just recently was added. There's 8 seasons of it that just got added. So
I didn't know there was 8. That's a good one. That's where he travels, right? Like, he goes around and checks out.
Yeah. So this one's from the Travel Channel, and he just goes to. This one's less cooking than some of his other shows, but it does have a food focus. But it's really interesting because he tells you about these different places that he goes that aren't very often traveled. So, like, he went to, like, parts of war-torn, like, Colombia and different places in Africa, and then he tells you about, like, a little bit about the history of these different things. You know, I learned a little bit about why Colombia's, you know, got a little bit of drug trade and et cetera, and about these different locations. So I really like that balanced with, you know, him doing a little bit of eating, because he always has chef connections and likes to explore the cuisine. So I really like that, and the fact that he kind of just passed away recently was a good reason for me to want to check it out, and it was just added. And I really like checking out his shows because they're nice to watch because he's traveling a bunch of places, so you get the scenery. But if you're, like, doing something like making food yourself, he's still good to have in the background because he's he's always narrating everything, and he's always talking. So it's a good background / focus show. So I've been enjoying that. And then the last thing I checked out was called Off Camera with Sam Jones. It's also on Netflix. It's just an interview show. He sits down with different celebrities and talks with them for like an hour. The first episode was with Robert Downey Jr., which I really liked. You get the this can kind of, it's very technical though. Like, he's talking a lot about, like, their different, like, methods and how they get it ready for roles and different things like that. But it's still pretty interesting to kind of get that perspective in each of these ones, because I don't really hear that much about them talking, like, the craft in a sense, right? Like, so it was kind of interesting. Less of their their stories are more focused around
movie
like,
making,
exactly,
as
like
opposed to,
how they
like,
learn
them
different
personally.
things. Exactly, right. So like
Okay.
Robert Downey Jr. talked about how when he played Chaplin and how that like helped him. I can't remember
Okay.
exactly, but because I watched it like last week. But yeah, they're pretty good. There's some.
So it's like
random-
the opposite of Ellen, where they just come on and tell like cute stories of their kids that
Exactly.
I'm like
Yeah, it's
91%
really, like-
sure they're bullshit.
Yeah, it's really like
Okay.
in depth. It's pretty much like a podcast. Just you watch the two of them sit there, right? So
Okay.
it's really kind of in depth. I think Sam Jones, the guy who hosted, is a documentary maker. So I think that's how he has a connection to a lot of these. He's like
Okay.
a filmographer and a documentary maker. So I think he's done a lot of work with each of them as just like director of photography or like a camera guy. So that's how he knows a lot of these celebrities. But yeah, it's just really interesting to kind of get those different. I always like these like a little more in depth into celebrities' minds and how they got to where they were. So I really enjoyed that. But I still got a bunch more to go through because there's a couple seasons of it, but there's just a bunch. There's a lot of actors you wouldn't talk to. So I've gotten through like Robert Downey Jr. I just watched the Martin Short one, and I was just starting the Judd Apatow one, or just
Okay.
finished that one. Yeah, but there's some good ones. It's enjoyable. But that's all I watched this week. 2 weeks.
That time.
Week.
Yeah. In between these last
Movies.
recordings, that.
For all intents and purposes, it was a week.
Yes, only a week.
It's been
1 week since we recorded a
That's all we have
podcast.
license to, guys. It's just that one line.
Not if we make it up.
Yeah, but we all know I'm terrible at improv and singing.
we have that one song I made to rip off of Huey Lewis.
That was all you. That's what I'm saying. I was
that's
saying,
got to
me
grow up.
personally. I can't improv or sing. But that was something really important. I think we just need to say thanks for listening this week, guys.
Yeah.
Be sure to follow us on all the social media and stuff, and check out some more episodes.
Check out that picture of Batman,
With the googly
Batman
eyes.
Forever with googly eyes.
It is fantastic. I'm not even upselling that.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.